Last week on the Lazy Scrapbooker Under Pressure, I completed my entire outline for the album project and made a quality start on the power layout, but getting just one of the 25 years done and on 24 pages.
Hi, I'm Donna Guest, the Lazy Scrapbooker and Creative Memories Advisor. Join me here as I plan, organize, and create a scrapbook to celebrate my husband's 25-year career in the fire service, and I've got just 2 months to do it.
Now let's see what happened this week in episode 4.
On February 15th, I had finished my video and I moved on to other things. Then on February 16th and 17th, I visited my mom for 2 days. Then on February 18th, back at home, I plowed through a very long to-do list.
So after 4 days of doing nothing on the project, a little procrastination, and some stress eating, I was ready to get started.
While my sister and I were out of town at my mom's house, we actually watched episode 3 together, which was a lot of fun to get their reaction. And they both had the same question or request. They said, I want to see this outline. And I realized I should have showed the outline a little bit more so you'll know what I'm talking about. And then within minutes, I had the same request from another viewer of the video. So I am definitely going to take a few minutes and show you what I mean by the outline. I know I said it wasn't very proper. There are no Roman numerals. There are no A's, B's, C's, all that you learn in school, how you do an outline. But I'm going to show you what I did that's keeping me on track and helped me get everything all organized. So let's take a look at it. So let's take a look at this printed copy that I have right here. For example, towards the beginning, I have one heading that's called Recruit Class Training, January to March, 1999. And then I just listed, indented, this is why it's not a proper outline, the items that I would have that would be a part of that recruit class section for the training. And that was this newspaper article here, and I showed that it was 2 pages, so I would have that. And then a ride along he did as a rookie. And then let's see, a newspaper article called Fire and Ice. I had to confirm with that whether it was or on the job or in training. It was in training. Then their big training burn, and then the certification paperwork and different cards there. So as I'm pulling things out of my simple power pockets, I'll know exactly what to use for that section. So that's the order it needs to be in. Then I move down and there's different sections. But for example, here we have firefighter from March 1999 to May 2005. I'm going to group that together somewhat. Here's that 2000 composite, the big photo, remember? Need to trim and put on 2 pages plus 1 pic of Jeff close up. So I made good notes because I'd already forgotten about the 1 pic close up. And then when he was an instructor for a recruit class in both 2004 and 5, I've got lots of pictures of that. So that's its own section, and I put lots of things right there. And it just continues on. So just a quick little look at this outline without giving you too much detail. You'll eventually see all this. And then I end with other different things like celebrity encounters, different times he walked in the 4th of July parade. I've got lots of pictures because I was standing there taking pictures of him and my son. And then places for people to sign the album or possibly cards that I can add later. I even know what's going on the last page already, and I'll explain that one later. So after being gone for a few days and stepping away from the project, I had some time to think about it. And remember the big question last time was, should I do the whole power layout all at once, or should I just do some and then pick it all up and then do some more? And it was a tough decision because this is high volume, and honestly, I got a big basement, but I don't really have the space to do this in without inconveniencing everyone else in the house. But after we did 1999, and if you remember, that 1 year had how many pages? 24 pages in the power layout. I know that I could run into some problems and end up with way too much. Now I'm not going to cut a lot of stuff out, but it will allow me to compress some things, use some peekaboo pockets, where I can, and really compress this and do it the right way, how I want it to have it done. So that being said, I have decided I'm going to attempt to do the whole power layout all at once. So I better settle in because I want to finish this as quickly as I can to not inconvenience my family. And also I'm going to have it on the floor, and you know who's walking around on the floor. As soon as he senses it, he's going to wake up, he's going to march himself down here and get all over everything. As you can see over there, when I was gone, I left it here, everything's still here. it's all in disarray, and that is one person, that's Nicholas, or one cat. But here's the other problem with me doing it on the floor. This. I don't even know what to say. Well, yeah, I do. It's still here. This is from my crop, and it just hasn't made itself way into the back room because I've been so busy. And then this, while I was gone, I got 5 more boxes that I had to unpack, price, and got to put it into my bin so that I can have it ready for sale. New stuff at my next crop. But the new stuff's so pretty. I've got something blue, and I've got my National Scrapbook stuff. Anyway, I digress. I've lost some floor space. So, do I take a moment and clean this up before I get started? I may have to. Or I may just take to the floor, and so I'm going to give it a good sweep to make sure the stuff that's been trucked in is not on this floor when I start putting my power layout on the floor. Last week I showed you that you could buy a separate package of 15 inserts for your power layout to add to your capacity, and I said they were $15. I was wrong. They're only $14. Okay, so here's my plan. Now, it was obvious that I already had to take up some of the empty power layout pages that I'd set on the floor last week when I was getting that set up, because I was going away for a few days and you couldn't walk in here. So I pulled those up. I left the ones on the tables. I had enough for 76 pages. That wasn't nearly enough. So now I've added to it, and I've got enough for 140 pages that I'm going to put down. That would be 2 albums of 70 pages each, which is pretty low. I could do a lot more than that, but I'm just going to start with that. So here's what I have. Now I've got all the pages and power layout dividers that I had already. Then I've got 2 more packs of pages, and that's 16 sheets each, so 32 pages times 2 when you count front and back, and that's 64 pages right there. But now I have run out of power sort dividers. So I've often said I'm a bit of a scrapbook hoarder, and I have hoarded these nice paper things, and these are the old ones when they were actually cardstock, so they're very sturdy. I wouldn't do this with the new ones. It's just pieces of paper. They're very thin. I'm not suggesting by any means that you do this all the time. This is an emergency. I need to get this done quickly, and I'm out of the dividers. By all means, go buy yourself several extra sets of the power layout dividers. What you should never use is this. Never use this. This is the cardboard that comes in page protectors, page refills, and that sort of thing. It's not photo safe. Now I know this is a short-term solution for me because I'm going to have this done by March 31st. But remember what happened last time I did one of Jeff's retirement albums for the military? If you watched my power layout video, I put it together and it sat in the power layout box for 9 years and even moved with us. Fortunately, I had used power layout dividers and pages, and everything was photo safe. Would not have been the case if I had used this, so don't use these. These, on the other hand, are photo safe, so it's okay for me to use them. I don't like them, but again, this is an emergency. But these are photo safe, and you actually could use these, whether they're the thick ones or the thin ones, in your albums if you were in a pinch for some white paper because you can't see what's on the other side. With all of this, I've got the capacity to do 140 pages, so here we go. I've never done a power layout this big ever, and I hope my floors are as clean as I think they are. I don't like this. I don't recommend having to get on the floor all the time, but again, this is an emergency. So I have run out of the dividers, so now I've had to start using this. Again, I don't like that. It's an emergency. This is work. I've already had to refill my water and change from a sweater to a t-shirt. I've moved to the second room. I'm really grateful that you all are watching this because I swear it's keeping me on track. I would not be doing this today otherwise. I've doubled up over here and blocked off the treadmill. That means nobody can use the treadmill for a few days. Oh darn. And I've got more over here. I called it. I knew this would happen. Here he is to check everything out. Okay, I'm done. And I realized I had more actual album pages than I had the inserts or the fake inserts that I'm dealing with. So I was able to add 7 more for 7 more pages. Oh, there we go. So let me just show you the pattern I've got here. Then we're going to go to the floor. Okay. And then we're going to go back up here to the table, just trying to remember my order. I might want to put some notes down. Then we're going to go back down to the floor. Okay. Then we're going to come over here and go around the pool table floor. Then we came into this back room, and I've just doubled up. So I'll do the top row first and the bottom row. And then I come over here, leaving a traffic pattern. All right, so I'll go there, and I'm going to come over here, do the top row, middle row, and bottom row. And since I didn't clean up my product mess, I took to this third room here, and I've got these 3 rows in order here. And then finally, these 2 rows here. And that's the last page right now at this point, which is page number 147. We'll see how that turns out. I got to be honest, I'm a little overwhelmed right now. This is a struggle, a legitimate struggle, because these pages are going to have photos and memorabilia on them. Yeah, that's right, Nicholas. It is a struggle. So that motivates me, since I can't really ban him from this basement. I could, but I won't. It motivates me to get this done quickly. My husband and son are gone right now to the batting cages, and I would say that they'd be shocked at all this when they get back, but they won't. Now, you know what it's time for now? We've done 1999. Let's go to 2000. Just 24 more years to go. So instead of just doing 2000, I've got 2001, 2, and 3 along with my outline to see if there can be any topics that are consolidated here. That was my plan, and then we'll cut it off at 2003 at his deployment. So I just did the math. If I do the absolute maximum number of pages, which is, I believe, 192 in 2 albums, the max that Creative Memory says we should do, and if I subtract the 24 I did for 1999, and then divide the remainder by 24 extra years, I get 7 pages per year. That's kind of startling since I just used 24, but 2000, I just used 5 pages, so I got 2 to spare. Since I really love statistics, I've taken it upon myself to write down each year and how many pages we've got per year. So I'm doing pretty well right now. After the deployment, I'm at 2004 now, and thankfully my outline kind of gives me an outline, a guide, because I have this one random golf picture because they played in some golf tournaments, but I know it's not listed here in 2004, so I flip over and I see eventually golf tournaments. Oh, 2004 has 1 picture, so I'm going to put all of those together. Again, those type of topics a little more impactful when they're all together. I'll bet you can relate to this. So not only do I have an obsession with dates, I also have an obsession with the order of the photos. So fortunately, these from 2004 all have the photo name, which is DSC00, and then the number on them, printed on the back. Yay. So I'm going to put these in order. It's a huge stack from a training fire. So we'll see if that order helps the story at all. That excitement didn't last long because I get to all these pictures and they have no information on the back. But hopefully I'll find some duplicates. I got them all sorted and I removed the duplicates, and there are 44 pictures from that training burn. I took them myself, so I can't complain, but 44 pictures from one day. But, you know, I'm going to use them. He's in most of these, and they're really good pictures, I must say. And it's him on the job training, so it's a good bunch of pictures. Now, how many do I get on a page? Normally I'd be like, ooh, 4 pictures on a page, but that's 11 pages, and we just don't have the scrapbooking real estate for that. So, hello, Peekaboo Pockets. Oh dear, if I thought 2004 was a lot, 2005 looks like even more. And I'm amusing myself with some things I'm saying. For example, when he was promoted to driver, 2 ID cards and a nice picture. Which one's the nice picture? Ah, it's that one because it was labeled that way. Ah, I should never question my methods. On the same page, right under nice picture, it says for this promotion in 05, picture of helmet shield from 4/11/08. That is hugely helpful because when I got to that picture, I knew it would be better on this page instead of chronologically. So I'm just going to go to my 08 folder and grab it. I'm getting sloppy here. Not really. That's a lot of pictures for 2 pages, but I know he's not going to want to include all of those pictures from some particular training. He's not even in any of them, so they're lucky to get 2 pages in this album, if that. I've gotten to the recruit graduation where Jeff was an instructor, and some of these pictures are just terrible. I'm like, who took these? And then I realized it was me. Some of these pages that I'm laying out, I just know that the recruit graduation where he was an instructor. It just needs to be 2 pages in this big album. So I'm going to make this work. We've got a nice picture of him during training. We've got the brochure, or excuse me, the program from the graduation. We've got a couple of nice pictures of speakers and the whole class. Then we've got some really bad pictures by a terrible photographer, me, right there that has Jeff in them. And then a thank you card signed by all of the new recruits, or make that new graduates. On this page, this is the promotion page to his next level, and here's that picture from a few years later that I was able to retrieve. And also I've got a sticky note to myself to grab, this means plus picture of Jeff and 3-day-old Nathaniel. I don't know what that means, because within about the same week he got a promotion and a baby. One of the most helpful things about doing a power layout is that you can plan for your 2-page spreads, because I know we all like our 2-page spreads. A lot of these in my albums and in this album, it's going to be a single page, but you can rearrange things. For instance, I've got 1 page of 2 days of training. I've got 1 picture and then 3 pictures. That's going to be 1 page. No need to split that up. Then I've got 1 day that had 2 massive fires in 1 day and newspaper articles and 1 photo of each. And then I have some training pictures. So I'm going to squeeze in the training pictures here and maybe on a couple of other pages if they're important enough. But I don't want to disrupt the flow, because I think it's best to put all the training together, because those are usually happy times and everybody's having fun and they're learning and it's hard work, but it's got a happy feel to it. And then to switch to these 2 news articles from such a bad situation, I don't want those on facing pages, so I can plan a little bit better. Now, the newspaper articles are in January and the training's in April. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I think the flow is more important. So I just stopped my little exercise of counting the number of pages for each year, because guess what I had not considered? All those specialty sections like the celebrity encounters or honor guard or parades. Those are separate. So
I missed capturing the sound of a 15-pound cat walking across scrapbook pages on top of carpet.
it's almost 11:30 at night, and I am finished putting all the photos and memorabilia down on what turned into 166 album pages. So divide by 2, 83, that is 2 large albums. So my next step is I'm going to have Jeff go through it with me tomorrow and just look at it, because there are some pictures that he's maybe not going to care about when I was telling him about him. You know, training pictures where he's not in it, I don't really need it in the album. If he doesn't want it, it's going out. So just to kind of condense this a little bit more. But if it's something interesting that he wants to keep, obviously we'll keep it in there, because this is going to be 2 full albums. I will say, if you notice when you look at the power layout and what's on the floor here, there are several pages that have a lot of pictures. I'm being very aggressive with the number of pictures. I've got 7 pictures on a page, and there's not much to crop. So peekaboo pockets, and they're going to add to the thickness just a little bit. So we'll cull some, but I feel really good about where we are. And I am so very glad that I made the decision to, hey, let's do the whole power layout before we move on. And so this will give us the chance to pare it down a little bit. But for right now, it's time to go to bed.
Take a look at 167 pages of power layout with photos and memorabilia. I am so glad I did it all at once. By doing that, you can judge if you need to compress or if you have the ability to expand and add more pages, and you can still do something about it.
I wisely kept the door to the basement shut overnight, because I don't trust an unsupervised nocturnal cat. So that kept everything safe, and now we can get started again.
This morning, I've asked Jeff to come look at the power layout, all 167 pages of it, to see if there's anything he doesn't want in the album. I don't think we'll pare this down to 1 album, but I have a feeling there are some things he will remove. And that gives us room for any surprises, like additional photos or items that could pop up. You just never know. And I know Jeff really appreciates the scrapbook and is going to be a big help giving additional information. I am sure this will be time well spent.
I was just told that 9 pages is way too many for a training bird, so we're working on that. Check it out. Jeff's really being brutal with some of these photos. This is exactly what I needed to happen. So having him make the choices instead of me, and it's cutting a lot of pages out and a lot of photos that he really doesn't care about. So this is great. I may be able to get it into one album. Not really. He's getting really good at this. First, he said these pictures are terrible, which is the ones I took, and I knew that, but he just moved everything over to one page and said I could do that on one page. He knows how to do a power layout. He is basically doing everything for me at this point. I'm not even on the floor. He is one step away from me handing him a personal trimmer.
All these are nearly the same picture, so I just want to pick one to put in there. They're all the same event. They all look very similar, so I really only want one in there.
We don't have to cut that down to one page because a 2-page spread is nice and it's all one subject. We like our 2-page spreads.
So the next section we come to is the community, and it includes letters from children's groups after a visit and tour at the fire department, and then Jeff's friendly firefighter presentation at Nathaniel's 3-year-old preschool class, so cute, and then another friendly firefighter presentation a few years later for another class at his after-school daycare for the younger children. And I have 4 pages on that because the lady taking photos took amazing photos, but Jeff and I do not quite see eye to eye on this.
That's too much. It should be 2 pages. It was 30 minutes. I don't think there's any way a 30-minute presentation should spread across 4 pages. It's a picture of a patch.
It's very stylized though.
This is my helmet upside down on the floor.
It's very cool.
You do what you want.
Done and done.
Wow, that was time well spent. Jeff got rid of so many photos that he didn't really care about, and now I have a lot of empty pages. But look at this. In some places, I have 1 empty page. So you know what that means. This is where the power layout is so important. I've got to kind of rearrange some things so that I can keep my 2-page spreads intact.
I didn't count how many photos Jeff removed. It was a lot, but we lost 14 pages. So that takes us from 167 down to 153 pages. Much better. And there are so many pages where I had a ridiculous amount of photos, maybe 9 or 10 on one page, and he was able to reduce that to a realistic number by removing so many similar shots.
So much progress this week. We've got the power layout, almost. Now I just need to do some rearranging to fill in the gaps where we have 1 page removed here and there, because those 2-page spreads are there for a reason, so I can't just remove all those pages. I'm really happy about that though, because it's going to possibly leave me more room for journaling and to make the pages look nice. Not too pretty, but nice. After I figure all that out, and that's indeed a puzzle, it's going to be time for me to add the embellishments that I've been saving, those department stickers and patches, things like that. Then I will add some papers here and there throughout the power layout. I'm not going to do that to every page because frankly, it's just too much. It's just too many. I'll have the paper that I'm going to use on hand as I'm completing the album. Normally I would say, yeah, add all your papers and stickers and embellishments, but this is just too much. The most important thing is that there is a plan for all of the photos and memorabilia. When Jeff and I were looking at all the pages laid out together on the floor, I said, I could never do this big of a project without doing a power layout. Never. So it's not completely done, but the power layout is under control. We are almost there and we've got 5 weeks left. Thanks so much for watching this week, and I will see you next week for episode 5. I have to admit, I've already started episode 5. Episode 4 was just getting too long, so I had to cut it off, but I know it's going to happen. I even know the title already. You're not going to want to miss it.